The agenda for today is SAP installations. So to recap to the previous, just we discussed about the introduction, right? And we discussed about the versions. We discussed about the SAP implementation methodology. So what are the procedure steps we will follow it and everything here. So this one will come in the realization phase, SAP implementation. So before the phases, we have the documentation, discussion, client, that one all management will take care of. You no need to worry about that one since we are the consultants, not the managers here. So you no need to worry about this one here. Just is a SAP. So then SAP installations or SAP builds, SAP implementation, all in every way the installation will comes into the picture here. So for do the installation directly, it's not like that small software directly go ahead and install the media player and watch the movie. It's not like that here. So it's a list of softwares packages we have to download, and also properly we have to install this one. It's not like that simply going to the Google, download the some software and double click it, install it, done. Installation is done. I know the installation. So it's not like that here. So there is a proper procedure we need to follow here to perform the SAP installations here. So any SAP installations we need to follow the hardware recommendations first. Hardware requirements. First of all, hardware requirements. Then software requirements. Hardware requirements and what are the software requirements we have to follow it here. Hardware and software requirements here. So hardware requirements. So hardware means what are the things will come into the picture here. Hardware requirements here. So operating system. All right. Hardware means so operating system.
Space.
So the operating systems, RAM and space. So we will get the CPUs. Space means it's like normally we will call it as the a disk or storage, how much storage we required. So RAM requirement, CPU, right? Network. So network requirements. So then swap, how much swap we required. So these and all the things are comes under the hardware requirements majorly. So then there is a hardware procurement also, means we have to procure the hardware. So procure the hardware, we have to purchase the motherboard, right? Then motherboard, those things are not required. They will take care of, but here hardware requirements also they will take care of, but they will ask us to how much RAM is required and all those things. So that type of knowledge we required here. That type of knowledge.
Ngopi terus.
That type of knowledge we required here, right? So here the OS recommendations. So SAP SAP is the application. SAP is the application. SAP is not the database. SAP is not the operating system. SAP is the application, right? So SAP we can install on SAP. SAP we can install on any operating system, either Windows Server Edition or so non-Windows versions here. So non-Windows means so AX, Linux, right? Red Hat Linux. So Red Hat Linux. Then so Solaris. So like any non-Windows platforms, we can install the your SAP, SAP application. Windows servers. Windows server means so Windows server. So 2003 server, 2008 server, 2012 server, 2016, 2018, right? So 2018, 2020. So server editions. So we have the server editions. So these editions we can install the any Windows or non-Windows, we can use it. It's not like that Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 10 Pro, 11. So it's not like that we cannot install on these machines here. So just Windows Server editions are Windows only, but it should be the server editions. In the server editions, we have to install the, in the server edition, we have to install the, so SAP, right? So any operating system you required, then OS team will perform the, so your operating systems installations and everything. They will take care of the latest version, either Windows Server 2012 or 16. These are the most successful versions here. So either they can do anything here. Same as like in our system also, if you see here, so this is our practice server here, right? Here, just go to the this PC and properties. Now you will see the what is the version. Windows Server 2012 is the our operating system version here. Operating system version here. Operating system here. So that is the operating system version which we are using here. So apart from that operating systems, so what next here? So then RAM. So RAM, how much RAM we required here? So basically for SAP applications, you don't require much RAM requirements here. But because it's SAP is for database, we have to carefully perform the scaling. Means you have to carefully perform the RAM requirements and everything. Why? Because it's a HANA database. So all the data will resides into the your HANA database. So in the RAM memory. So that is the reason we have to carefully perform the here. But here normally minimum for SAP minimum 16 GB is required here for non-production systems here. 12 GB or 16 GB is required here. But if I tell now minimum for my practice servers, minimum is 8 GB is okay, means tomorrow whenever anyone asks you during the interview point of time or normal casual discussion, when you join the organization, you will tell 8 GB only. That's why 8 GB means it's not, we cannot possible. We can install it, but it's very slow. We cannot use it for our business purpose and everything here. So that's why minimum you require the 16 GB RAM you required. In this 16 GB also, so in the 16 GB minimum you required for the, so this RAM requirements and everything here, minimum 16 GB is required here. So why? Because hardware requirements, in the hardware requirement 16 GB. Why? Because here when you install the SAP here, so there is a several instances will be installed. One is the application server, ERS, database, application, many all, so will be host agent, everything will be installed, right? So everything is each and every process is required the some amount of memory, food. How the for humans, how the food and water is very important, right? For our day-to-day life, we are the one process on the earth, right? So if we don't have food and water, this process will go die, right? Six status. I mean to say six status. Same as like in the server also. So if any each and every process, if you want to run the process, each and every process is required the some amount of memory, some quantity of food. Food means here for us, food and water is very important. Rice. So those things are very important for us, right? So here in the system, here, so RAM and CPUs are very important for the each and every process which you install in the operating system, right? So that is the very important here. That's why, so in this 16 GB, if I divide it, who will use it means, so SAP host agent will use the 1 GB here. So, right, then SAP host agent will use the 1 GB. Then database instance DB will use the DB database instance use the minimum 2 GB. It will use it minimum 2 GB database instance. Then so SCS ERS, then ERS and yes, above ASCS. This I will explain it. Don't worry. So ARS will use the 2 GB minimum 2 GB. It will use it here, right? So then application server app server SAP app server will use the 8 GB here. 8 GB here. So 3 5 5 plus 8. So 5 plus 8, 12 GB, right? 12 GB. So then, so remaining, suppose if you want to install the additional application server, so then additional 6 GB, so it will be installed. Then OS also is required, the operating system also required the some additional 2 GB or 1 GB, minimum 2 GB is required. So that's why the overall we required the minimum 16 GB is required for the each and every process here. Otherwise, we can also get the RAM size requirements by using web-based tools. SAP provided the web-based tools here. The web-based tools SAP provided, that is called the SAP Fixsizer tool for getting the RAM size requirements here, RAM size requirements, right? So RAM size requirements, we have to use this Fixsizer tool for getting the RAM size requirements here. Okay, so that is the one important point here. Okay, so here, so other RAM size requirements is a very web-based tool here. Directly you can go to the here, just you can type the Fixsizer tool in SAP. So it will give the benchmark tool, means here we can calculate the how much memory is required, how many CPUs we required, disk space, IO capacity, network band, everything we can scale it here. Hardware requirements such as all these things we can calculate it here using this sizing tool. Using the Fixsizer tool, we can calculate the all those things here, right? So here we can get the, we can just open the sizing. So you just open the sizing here. Then so here we can get the requirements and everything, we can get it out here. That I will show you. Okay. So that I will show you how to get, we have to create the project, then we can get the here. Otherwise, the rough estimation here, the minimum, so this much of RAM is required for non-production systems here, right? The space and all, the space or disk or storage. Why? Because whenever you install the SAP here, the space will be created here. Separate the space, the space it will be created here. So here the minimum we can take it for the, so minimum we can take it for the 200 GB. So free space is required here. Minimum 200 GB free space is required for the to install the SAP. Why? Because we have to download the softwares, we have to download the we have to place it in the C drive or D drive or E drive, OneDrive. So for minimum 200 GB free space is required here. Minimum 200 GB free space is required here, right? So that is the space requirements. So because whatever you install it, it will install the some files, it will store the some files at a disk level. Without this file system structure, so this process will not start. So here the free space is required here. Here then CPU requirement, CPU requirement means here we have to use the, as per SAP, Intel hardware, and the hardware and also the Intel Haswell CPUs are higher, we have to use it. Haswell CPUs are later. These are the CPU models. Like otherwise you can ignore it. Then Intel CPUs we have to use it. Or any CPUs we can use it, but not a problem. But recommendation from SAP is the Intel CPUs will give the more workable. So that's why Intel CPUs we have to use it here. How many CPUs we have to use it? Each CPU will handle the so each CPU will handle the 14 GB of RAM memory. 14 GB of RAM. CPU will work based upon the RAM memory here. So one CPU will handle the 14 GB of RAM memory here. Two CPUs, 28 GB of RAM memory here. Three CPUs. So like that, we have to calculate it here, right? So each CPU will handle the 14 GB of RAM memory on the, this is the on-premise calculations, on-premise calculation, physical CPU calculations. So PCPU, we will call it as the PCPUs, physical CPUs. One CPU, so 14 GB will handle it. The same time, vCPU, in the cloud level, same concept, they have divided the CPUs into the vCPUs, virtual CPUs here, vCPUs here, which means one CPU will handle the, so 7 GB of 7 GB of RAM memory, 7 GB of RAM memory here. So two virtual CPUs means, so 14 GB of RAM memory here. There is a template in the cloud level. When you are working in the cloud, either AWS cloud or Azure or so Google Cloud, there is a predefined templates here. So if we want to this much of RAM, then this many CPUs we have to use it like that. There is a templates will be defined. So those templates we can use it here. So, but any template, so this is the calculations will be applied here. Any template, if you take it out, it's a cloud level, this virtual CPUs concept. Normally in the on-premise systems, on-premise means our own data centers. Physically, these data centers are visible for us. Means it's in our own on-premise, it's in our premises. It's our own premises. This data centers, the CPUs, we can see it here, right? That is called the on-premise systems. So nowadays, all customers, few customers, they are going to the cloud level. Why? Because so there is a charges wise, it's a very less, and also you no need to maintain the separate data centers, network, storage, RAM, all those things here. They will give you for rent. So then cloud providers, then you can use for their RAMs and everything. You can use it how much you want to use it. You can use it. Then so you have to pay for the amount on hourly basis or daily basis. You have to pay the amount for them, right? So that is the cloud concept. Okay. So in the on-premise means you don't need to pay. Just you have to maintain. This is your systems. You purchased the only you have purchased. So you no need to pay the single rupee. Just for maintenance, you have to use for the CPUs, RAM, and all those things. Why? Because it's a one-time investment that you are doing. So this is the some advantages are there, some disadvantages are there in the so on-premise and the cloud, right? So that is the main thing here. So this is the CPU calculations like this here, right? And also the processor. What type of processor we have to use it here? Actually, we don't require all those things. Why? Because it's a processor means the hardware team, they will take care of all this processor and everything here. So here 64-bit processor we have to use it here, 64-bit. So not that there is not 32 bits here, but here our hardware must be 64-bit here. 64-bit should be, we have to use it here. 64-bit we have to use it here. So ISO compatible 64-bit things we have to use it here. So additionally, network requirement is 1 gigabytes per second. They will recommend like 1 Gbps, but Mbps also very enough, but it's not like the small kbps mbps, but better to more than kbps. That's fine. Good network, I mean to say good network bandwidth is enough. Network bandwidth. Okay. So swap is required for the Linux systems here. So Linux based systems, the swaps, temp, all these things are required for the Linux based systems here. For Windows, you don't require here the swap and everything here. So you need sufficient swaps here. Maybe the swap size is like, so if you are minimum 20 GB, it's a general recommendations. 20 GB is required for the swap size. At least 20 GB is required for the swap size for this one, for this one, right? Anything because the Linux based systems, so minimum, so this much of things are required here. CPU, Intel hardware, so minimum, so RAM, so LAN or Ethernet, so software requirements, so these sorry hardware requirements. So storage, RAM, CPU, drives. So all those things are usually should be required here. These all will comes into the hardware requirements, but nowhere we will involve in this requirement phase. Nowhere we will involve. Just nowhere we will involve, and we cannot do anything here. Just we would like to know the information only. But here we will not involve any part here. Why? Because here the OS team, hardware team, they will take care of all kind of things and everything here. You won't get anything here. Here the client, why? Because here everything will be involved in the budget wise. So budget wise, and it will be costly. So that client will be involved. So client will take care of all kind of work. Just they will provide you the system to you. Then from there onwards, you need to start installations. All those things we have to do that one. That is the main thing here, downloads and installation. Nowhere we will involve, but sometimes they may ask you how much minimum RAM you have. That is only one question they may ask you. Minimum 16 GB is required for the SAP. What type of operating systems we can use it? Suppose tomorrow in casual discussion, one of your Linux friend asking you for SAP installation, how much RAM we required. So if he ask you, then you are in the position to tell the answers, right? So that's why we are discussing about the hardware requirements. And also the Intel CPUs is a very important here. It will give the more, and also the processor, 64-bit processor, and also the network, the swap for the Linux systems, how much storage is required. So RAM, and also operating systems. What are the operating systems we have to use it? And also, so these kind of things, so we have to use it here. This kind of things we have to use it here. Okay, these all are comes under the hardware requirements. Hardware requirements here. Okay, so
You have told that minimum 16 GB of RAM required.
yes.
In the CPU, if you take physical or virtual also, it is showing less than 16 now. We have to take it multiple.
Yeah, then 2 CPUs you required. So minimum. So if 2 CPUs are there, CPU utilization is very less, right? If you take same as like suppose, so 1.5 CPU quarter to 2 CPUs, not like that, right? So
Yes.
definitely you can also take the 1 CPU. That's not a problem. The thing is CPU utilization is 100% that time, 90+% again. So it comes into the 90%. 10%, sorry, 90%, 85%, like that it will come. So it will be slow. It will be slow. To avoid this one, so only 1 CPU you are increasing, right? Then you can increase the 1 CPU. That will not create any problem here. That will not create any problem here. Here we can calculate how many CPUs are there, how many processors are there. So all those things we can calculate it here. See here, our CPU is the Intel CPUs. Intel, so E5-267V4. There is a, if you Google it, you will get the what is the this one, CPUs and everything here. Intel E5-2694V4 version here. So here, how many sockets? 1 socket here. How many CPUs? How many virtual process here? 4 CPU work process here. So like that, we have the speed too. So network band. So there is a calculation you don't require, but here, see here, how much is there here? CPU calculation. It's very less here. Why? Because currently nothing is running. That's why here it's a very less here, 13%, 8%. Nothing is there here. But when you start SAP installation, it will go to the 90, 100. So like this. But that time again you have to stop it. Again you need to increase the systems. That's why. So better minimum 2 CPUs. Maybe you can take it minimum 2 CPUs. If you are using the 16 GB, so go with the additional CPU. No one will question you, right? Why? Because our main intention is system should be up and running. System should not be busy. It should be up and running without any issues. Sometimes if a CPU goes to 100%, so then if it is 100% more than 3 minutes, 5 minutes, your OS will go, OS will crash. OS will crash means on top of OS, your SAP is running, some other database service are running, everything. All will go down immediately. So the CPUs and memory are very important here. For us, how the food and water is very important. Here also, each and every process which is running here, for them also, CPU is the water, food is for the memory. That much is very important for them.
You want to increase means how can we increase that to CPU?
They hardware team, they will take care of you. No need to do anything. Just hardware team doing the in the physically, we have to bring down the all the service. Then they will open up the CPUs. So
Yeah.
they will open the CPU. In the CPU, they will insert the in the CPU, they will insert the some chip RAM, some chips or RAM, they will insert it here. So they will take care of that one. Just from our side, the CPUs are very less. So some projects during the initial implementation time, they will allocate the less CPUs. Then after 2 months, the project go live happening, the CPU utilization is very less, memory is very slow. That time, 1 weekend, they will take the downtime. Again, they will add the more CPUs. They can cloud level. It's very simple. Stopping. There is a template we will get. Just select the template. Then 2 to 4 like that. Just we can select it. We can increase it. But in the on-premise systems, what we have to do, we have to stop everything. Then open the CPU. You know, right? In a, maybe some maybe if you are the CPU in your home, maybe just we have to open the door of the CPU. So then in the CPU there is a motherboard. In the motherboard, on the motherboard we have the CPU sockets are there. So that's all. In the we have to insert the one related socket. We have to insert it. Then in the BIOS level we have to insert it. Then then switch on the VM, switch on the main OS. Then check whether the CPUs are mapping or not. Then in the let me show you here how we have to allocate the CPUs here. How I can allocate the CPUs and memory to the my VMs here. Okay. This is the my base OS, here. In this my base OS, we have the I'm using the Oracle VM virtual machines here. Here my all virtual machine servers are running here, right? Ours is the SAP Windows is the ours. Here what I can do, I can go for the settings here, right? I can go for the settings here. I can go for the systems here. Here I can go to the process here. CPU count currently allocated 4. Then I can just drag to the 6 or I can make it 6 here, right? Go to the storage. Storage also I can make it like, so here 300 GB. Then I can make it something like here, network, right? So here motherboard. So how much RAM base memory you allocated? If you want to increase the RAM, you can just drag up to this much level. You can drag it here, right? How many processor means CPUs. So currently 4 CPUs, 4 virtual CPUs I allocated. See here, 4 virtual CPUs you allocated for this one. So then just you can drag it. If you want to increase the 2 more, just to drag it, then 6 will be there. But here we need to stop the VM. I have to stop the VM here. Means I need to stop the OS here. I need to stop the OS here. Suppose example, I stopped the one VM. Okay. So I stopped the HANA VM. I have stopped it here, right? So here, just I will go to the here, right? So now I can edit it here. Everything I can edit here. Here I have 40 GB memory allocated for the one HANA system here. Then if you want to increase, I can increase it up to here. I can increase it how much memory. So otherwise I can make it like this here. So otherwise, So I want to increase the CPUs here. Go to the, so processes here. I want to 4 are there, then I can make it 6 here, right? I can make it 6. So 4, so 6, 8, like that we have to allocate it here, right? 6, 4, I can allocate. Then memory, we want to increase the memory, you can increase it. So storage, if you want to increase, we can increase the storage. So network, if you want to change the network bandwidth and everything, you can change it here. Whatever you want, you can change it here. So that is the thing I can, then I can start it here. But here downtime is required here. Here we have to downtime is required here. That's why, so we need to stop the bring down the system, and we have to do that one. So that's why, so it's a cloud, it's a virtual, it's a very simple, but it's the physical machines. In my physical machine also, it's very less. In my physical machine also, it's very less. That time what I have to do, then what I can do, I can go for the, in my physical machine also, it's very less here. So but in that case, what I have to do, I need to bring down all those things. Then I need to visit my data center. Near my data center, I need to visit. In the data center, I have to go to the CPU server room. In that server room, so I have to carry the tools, then open the CPU doors and everything. Then there is a motherboard. In the motherboard, there is a CPU sockets and everything. There I need to insert. I need to insert the one chip, one CPU related chip I have to insert. Then, so I need to test it. So this way we have to do it. But here you don't need to worry about that part. But that's why we are the cloud concept. It's very simple. So it's in our limit. Just we can go ahead and we can emit it. But physical CPU's concept, you need to physically visit the server room. Then you have to dismantle. Then we need to increase it. That is the CPU. You don't need to worry about. You can ignore it, that one. Okay. CPU, space, storage, all those things are same. Okay. So all those things, network, if you want to change network bandwidth also, processor, storage also, if you want to increase, we can increase it later also. So RAM also we can increase it. But OS, now you install the Windows, tomorrow you want to install the Linux, means there is a procedure. You need to switch, you need to use the tools. So that is the one thing here. So these all are comes under the hardware requirements. Okay.
But organization also, they will give the permission to change all those things, because or defaultly they will provide it.
Defaultly they will increase it more enough resources defaultly. Then in the long run, it is not sufficient. Then one weekend they will take the downtime, then they will increase it. Okay.
We cannot do ourselves anything.
Basis consultant is not responsible the hardware part. We are not the hardware team. We are not part of the hardware team. That's why I told you, right?
Yeah.
Nowhere we will involve in this case. Just sometimes they may ask you what type of OS. They are not sure. They will ask you what type of OS we have to install. That time you have to inform, like server edition we required. Like that we have to inform. So that's it. Just providing the information only, but nowhere we will involve. We are not the hardware team. We are the softwares. We are the software consultants. Okay. So coming to the software requirements. Here you should know more details about the software requirements. Okay. So software requirements here. So software parts here, as part of the softwares, here we need list of softwares from the, so in the service marketplace here. So there is a service marketplace ID. So SAP softwares are not the open source softwares here. Like that media players, we will download it, we will install it. It's not like that here. SAP softwares are, so we have to download. There is a particular website here. So support.sap.com or service.sap.com, or so there is a recently there is a me.sap.com. They have changed their website to me.sap.com. So using this website, to log into this website, you need user ID. ID is required. To log into the Gmail, we need our Gmail ID required. For here, S user ID is required here. S user ID starts with S00. S00. So this ID will be provided by your organization, right? Once you join the organization, your organization will assign the one S user ID to you. As a business consultant, they will assign the one S user ID to you. Using this S user ID, we have to download the software. Anything we can download it here. SAP softwares, licenses, so notes, documentations, all those things we can download from the here, me.sap.com, right? This is a S user ID. We have to use it here. Okay. S user ID. So in this S user ID, once you log into the here, we need list of softwares we have to download for the SAP. List of softwares here. The first software will come into the picture is called the SWPM. This is called the software provisioning manager. So software provisioning manager. Software provisioning manager here. So here, this is the tool we required. This is the software we required to start the installations here. Along with we required the exports we required. Then kernel you required. Then fourth one, so SAP host agent you required. The fifth one you required the DB. The sixth one you required the DB client. Okay, DB client you required. So these are the softwares. It's not like one software, go ahead and install it here. Multiple softwares you have to download it. Then we have to start the installation with the SWPM tool. We have to start the installation with the SWPM tool here. SWPM is the tool to start the SAP installations here. So how to download SWPM? Exports, kernel, host agent, DB client here. How to download all these softwares? me.sap.com or support.sap.com. Then what you required here? You required the S user ID. Yes, user ID you required. Just log into the your service, your SAP marketplace here. Just you have to use the service marketplace here. Right. So here support.sap.com here. Right. Visit the support portal here. Right. This is the site where we can download everything for SAP related, anything you need. We have to download it from the here. All those things we have to download it from here. Right. Then here we will see the icons here. Here software downloads here, right? So it's not available as a open source in the Google. So just go ahead and search it, download it. It's not the free. Here you require the S user ID. To log into the here, you require the S user ID authentication is required here, right? So here, from here, we will download it here. So let me show you here. So once I log in here, see here me.sap.com. Finally, it will go to the me.sap.com. Then download software center here. It will go to the software center here. You can see here, this is the software center. Here you can see the download softwares, right? For databases, you have to go to the here databases. You can download the any database, right? Here one thing here SAP we can install on any database, any operating system, any database we can install it. But here the customer will tell you which database you have to install it for our business. So they will guide you. So based on that, you need to download the respective database along with the DB client. You have to download it. Okay, DB related softwares you can download it from here. Suppose SQL server. Go to the SQL server database. Then, so which version in the SQL server? Maybe always we have to go for the latest. Go for the latest. Here, download the latest versions of the databases. We can download it here, right? So that is the one thing here. Okay. Yes, I am using my own S user ID and password. So it's not like that. Yeah, I have one S user ID. That S user ID I am using here. Then go to the installations and upgrades. Why? Because we are doing the installation. We need to just click the installations. So here, all SAP softwares are, they have segregated as a by alphabetical index. So by alphabetical index, you have all the SAP softwares are there here. Just expand the by alphabetical index. So A, B, C, D, something like that you have. So here SWPM, right? SWPM means yes. Then you have to go for the yes here. S for SWPM. So here yes related all softwares will come into the picture here. Yes means yes for HANA related things, smart business related things, anything. All those things will come into the picture here. Yes for HANA. So all those things will come into the picture here. So here we need to download the softwares here, right? Here we need to download the softwares here. So here, maybe here also we can go to the support pack and patches here by alphabet. Here anywhere you can, from here also you can go, here also you can go here. Here, most recent patches you will get from here by alphabetical index. So here same, yes. So here SL tool set, here software provisioning manager like SWPM. Just click on the SWPM. So then, we can download the SWPM versions here. So just click on the download. Then just click on the download. Just select this button. This will be downloaded. Select this hyperlink. The software SAR file will be downloaded here. This is the SAR file here. SAR file means SAP related all softwares in the form of .sar, file name .sar. How if you download the zip file, it is the zip file .pdf, how .text, how the files are there. Same SAP related branding related files are. It's like .sar. The extension is .sar here. So just click on this button, then the file will be downloaded. The software will be downloaded here. You can see this is getting downloaded here. So like that, we have to download the software here, right? So SWPM, then ECC. So like suppose then kernel related things. Then go to the here. So kernel means K for kernel. Just go to the K. So here, so here for my user ID, I don't have access, I guess, here. I don't have access here, but let me try with this. I will tell you after once the recording is ended, I will show you. So here, so we have to respect to softwares like this, go to the by alphabetical index. We need to download the respective softwares. We have to download it here. Okay. This way we have to download the hardware, software requirements. We have to keep all the softwares into the one place. Like, so I here in our case, I have created the softwares. Then in the C drive, here we have the kernel, exports, SWPM, DB client, I deleted, I guess. So we have to download all those things when you have to keep it ready for the installations like this. So kernel files will come. So SWPM. So then exports. Yeah, this is a NetWeaver exports. So like that, we have to download it here. Here, SWPM is common. Kernel is common. Host agent is common. DB is common. DB client is common for SAP, any SAP product installation. So anything is common, but here only the exports will change. Suppose for your business, you are installing the ECC exports you have to download. NetWeaver exports. S4HANA exports. CRM exports. SRM exports here. So MDM exports. Fiori exports here. MII, APO, BW. So like that, the exports will change here. So, but remaining all softwares are common. For any SAP product installation, all softwares are common here. Only the exports may change, depends on the exports may change, depends upon the your product which you are going to install it here. So that is the one thing here. So remaining all are common. You can reuse it. Suppose now today you are installing the ECC. Tomorrow you are going to install the NetWeaver. Day after tomorrow you are going to install the Fiori. So or CRM. Then these softwares can be reused. Only additional exports you have to download it. Right? This exports is the variance. It's a difference here. Exports. Remaining all are the same. So these are the software requirements. Yes.
Just one question. That kernel, I think it should be different, no? Or it is same for ECC and S4HANA?
Kernel is same. So only the kernel versions may be different, but the kernel is same. Same kernel we have to use. We can use it. So maybe because kernel, there is a kernel. Suppose the kernel also, it is if you are installing the Windows, then different kernel we have to download it. If you are installing the Linux, then different kernel you have to download it. If you are installing the AX, you have to download. So, but you are today you are installing the ECC on Windows. Tomorrow NetWeaver on the Windows, then same kernel we can reuse it. We can use it. So, but it's not like that. For each product like ECC, we have the ECC kernel. NetWeaver, we have the NetWeaver kernel. Like that, there is no something like that here. So kernel means it's a OS kernel is the OS dependent. So depends upon the OS. We need to download that related kernel. We have to download it.
It's a OS specific, right?
OS specific, yeah, OS dependent. Maybe OS specific, yeah. Kernel is the OS specific operating system. Why? Because the kernel is the binaries. When you install the operating system, Windows operating system, how your C program files, Windows will be created. Same as like Linux also, it will be created the file systems, right? So OS specific. Same as like here also. So this kernel, when you are installing the kernel, so here some folders will be created here. Some folders and everything will be created here. So some folders and files will be created here. That time kernel will be useful. Here. So kernel is the OS dependent. I will show you now. Okay. So how depends upon the OS, you will download the kernel here. Not the ECC specific, NetWeaver specific, Fiori specific kernels here. So just it's the OS specific kernels here. So here, okay, let me